Welcome to the Book Bonk Podcast. I'm Chilly.
And I'm Ray.
Today we're going to be going over chapter 29, 30, 31, and 32 of Fourth Wing. We're getting closer to the end. We're in like the final 10 chapters, or entering. Ooh. Yeah, let's see. So we're going to get started with chapter 29, obviously. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I lied. We're not starting with chapter 29. We're going to start with an overview.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So these 4 chapters, for those who have read them, and if you haven't read them yet, you're in for a wild time. This is just where we decide to up the antics and we just go into smut land. Just
a little bit.
Up the spice a little, you know? But to actually give an actual appropriate overview besides just smut, in chapter 28, we ended off with Violet going, "Oh, I killed Jack. Jack Barlow got killed." And so in chapter 29, we're dealing with mostly Violet's, we're reading about how Violet handles finally killing somebody because she hasn't killed somebody up to this point.
Spoiler alert, she doesn't handle it well.
Nope. Which I have words about this, but that's beside the point. We'll get into that. Chapter 30 is where we have Smut Foley enter the chat and Professor Carr. Honestly, we don't know much about Professor Carr at this point besides he snapped snapped a child's neck.
Yeah, which, granted, like, that was him doing what he had to do and, like, what he basically was signed on to do. However, I don't know. At this point, there's just this underlying, like, ick that he gives me, but I've also read further, and I know that he is just horrible. I hate him. I feel like that one meme or like scene from The Office where it's Dwight being like, I think it's Dwight. I could be wrong. It's been years since I've seen it, but it's like him being like, it's because I hate him, and me with Professor Carr.
I mean, he's also, I'm assuming, made the rules. I don't know if he made the rules or he's uptaking the rules. Either way, the fact that you can't like learn about dragon stuff before you get like your signet and stuff, like shielding and all this nonsense.
Yeah, which feels backwards, but
like I feel like there's some stuff you can learn the theory of and all that stuff without having your signet yet to like help you when you do get flooded with your signet.
Yeah, like I feel like there are ways to go about it where you can still prepare people even before they have any sort of powers being channeled to them.
Yeah, like maybe help with idea of how to handle suddenly getting like flooded and like you have a fire ability and now you're on fire.
And now you're on fire and now you're dead. Like, yeah.
That was in the book at some point.
Yeah.
I think it was, I don't even know how much it was mentioned or if it was just briefly mentioned.
I think it was just like briefly mentioned as like, I think Violet was talking to Ree and she was like, yeah, and then, or maybe it was Riddick, and they were like talking about the like death roll call, and someone was like, yep, caught on fire, manifested and became fire. Poof, gone.
I hope his dream was to be a candle.
If it was, he lived up to that.
But yeah, so that's 30. 31, of course, is after Smut. And then we get some more stuff about Violet's dad. And we get a little bit of a battle brief, which is really kind of just sexual tension. And then we get, that's the other part of it, is the, I forget what they called it, but I called it ball celebration thing over the anniversary of them defeating the rebels or whatever.
Yeah, it's like them celebrating the death of like all the people who rebelled. And I'm like, that's a lot of these kids' parents that you're celebrating the deaths of.
107. Not that 107 of them are there, and who knows how many loved ones die that were not on the rebel side.
Yeah.
Because it's also like Brennan's death anniversary, which is Violet's brother. You know, this is an interesting sandwich we have here. We have 29 where it's coping with murdering somebody, then going into smut, then sexual tension / more death, to then chapter 32, which is once again smut.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The other part of 32, of course, is we get Parapet, which is just kind of prequel to smut. So that's our overall outline of the 4 chapters. Um, death, smut, death, and smut. I like how I didn't
Yeah.
realize that until saying it out loud. You know, you gotta have tragedy with your romance. Unless it's slice of life. Slice of life is great. So now we shall get into chapter 29. I think I'm going to start off with our above chapter quote because I thought it was interesting. I don't know if I even I don't think I quoted it in here. I changed my notes, audience. I changed how I did my notes this time so we won't have to be like, why did I write Jack Farrell? Do we have any idea here? And this time I just copied the quotes from the chapter that I wanted to comment on.
The iconic, what did Chilly mean when she wrote this?
And I'm like, I don't know, I was reading at 2 a.m., man. And I didn't feel like typing much.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll start off with above chapter quote for chapter 29, which, no, I'm not going to read it. You're going to have to pull up and read it yourself. But it basically was talking about, it was like this, it was reiterating the little concept of kind of like survival, we need to weed out the weak kind of stuff was the vibe. And so I'm just like, once again, we're having diminishing amount of dragons, diminishing amount of like people graduating. There's still battles or war or whatever going on. And yet they're kind of like, we want the best of the best. And if you die, oh well, it's just how it's meant to be. And I'm like, isn't quality over quantity a bit much at this point?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like death during training, isn't that like just a bit unnecessary here? Just a bit. Like you can have like, yeah, there are situations where it's like this is the A star team or the A star person, and they can take on, I don't know, like triple the amount of people compared to like the average Joe. But you still, I feel they still lose at some point if there's enough people.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's like at this point, I feel like it's a little like they need to tone it down a little here. And so this is kind of I think went with the quote because it basically was kind of also stating kind of a, hey, if you're in training and you kill another trainee, as long as you didn't do it illegally, that's fine. Because
Yeah.
of
It's definitely a way of thinking. I'm glad the university I've been to does not function like that. However, yeah, I mean, they're gonna be fighting to the death, but also, like, it's gonna be hard to win if everyone already killed all your people.
yeah, yeah. And so it's like I'm glad that Violet won't get in trouble for killing Jack. I'm glad for that. But at the same time, I mean, Jack was killing a lot of the people, but at the same time, I don't think we should be killing each other during training.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problems with Jack being. I will put this out there right here, right now.
Actually, I have a problem.
What? What's? Oh no! And why is it? I swear, if the next words that come out of your mouth are the real enemies to lovers.
No.
Okay.
No, the real enemies to lovers, Dane and Zayden.
Okay, I can get behind that.
I mean, I was for the Jack and Violet thing a little bit too at some points, but beside the point, no, I meant the part that I'm actually upset with is the first time I read it through, and then second time reading it through, and I'm still kind of upset about it. Is I full on thought Violet smited this man with lightning, and it was like the gods have agreed this man needs to die. Nope, he just had the tower and rocks fell on and crush him.
Yeah, I really do wish she just smited him out of the sky.
It would have been beautiful. Okay, continue. He's like, I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
What was I saying? Something about not having problems with Jack dying. Yeah, good riddance. He was horrible. Like, and Violet having problems with that, and I'm like, girl, he tried to kill you before you were even a person on, like, an actual, like, team in this. He tried to kill you before they knew your name.
Or she was actually a cadet.
Yeah, like, he's been trying to kill you since, like, saw you in line. Like, stop feeling bad about killing him and feel bad about not smiting him out of the sky and just dropping rocks on him.
Okay, wait. Ready? Hear me out. So, Jack right away was trying to kill her on the parapet before they even really met each other. But you know what happened prior to the parapet? Mira walked in there and went, "This is my sister." Maybe Jack was just jealous of her and that's why he wanted her dead.
Maybe, but killing Violet would not make Mira his sister.
No, just jealous because she's the daughter of the general, and like she doesn't
Okay.
look like it, maybe.
Yeah,
Because we don't know anything about Jack.
true.
I like how he's like low key kind of primary/secondary antagonist throughout this entire book. And we know nothing about this man.
Yeah. Although I will say, I think in one of the interviews that Rebecca Yarros did a while back, she did say that Jack was one of her favorite characters. It was either Jack or Dane that was one of her favorites. And I just think that's a little wild.
I mean, I like Dane and I do like Jack because Jack's kind of fun, which is probably why it annoys me. We don't get much about him, just that he's kind of stereotypical, stupid bully ish to a degree.
I like Dane's, like, character growth and, like, his overall character story from, like, even the stories that, like, were told from when they're little to now, but I wish he acted more maturely. He kind of sucks. I just hate Jack, so.
See, for me, it's like, I feel like it would be interesting if we were given more about him. Like, we don't know if he had siblings. We don't really know his life or anything whatsoever. We don't know his parents. We don't know none of that. There's no random backstory we're given from him. And this chapter, well, it's like, oh my gosh, his parents were going to get a letter about him being dead and what to do. We don't find out if his parents decide to actually show up and take his belongings or just let the school deal with it. We don't know if he has siblings. Don't know. Freaking, he would show up with these like seems to be friends or gets along with these people, and people seem to like him and stuff. And it's just like, how? What? Huh? Like, there's not much personality we get besides his kind of random meat-headed kind of like they're strong and got to kill Violet because he's really dead set on killing Violet for some reason. It's like I get okay. I say for some reason, I Violet did threaten to castrate him.
You know, fair. Yeah, she did do that. I was like, there's no reason he could hate her. Yeah, she did. She did threaten that.
I'm not gonna lie, like a Jack POV, a little short story of him just and his rage towards Violet just because she threatened to castrate him would be kind of entertaining.
Yeah, I do really wish she did.
I wonder if he has nightmares about it.
I hope so.
If he would explain a little bit, but anyway, to move on from this. But yeah, so Violet majorly struggles. She's kind of like, well, first off, so like one of the quotes on here is the fact that she immediately is kind of like, let me know Liam's alive. Let me know he's alive. Tell me that it was worth it. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. But even if Liam did die, I'm pretty sure killing Jack's worth it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I love Liam.
Okay, but she was killing Jack to protect, to try and save Liam. And even if Liam didn't survive, you would have gotten revenge. So it was just a weird kind of throwaway line of like, tell me it was worth it.
Yeah.
Like if like she failed at saving Liam and killed Jack, is like all of a sudden would that not have been worth it?
Yeah, fair enough.
I kind of just read it and I was like, bitch said what?
Yeah.
But yeah, so she kind of is spiraling in the aftermath of killing Jack, and it was really funny too because I'm kind of curious about like I'm not going to at this moment go back and look at the whenever she was doing her fights and stuff like that, but she was like, I've always been aiming for the shoulder. I didn't want to be a killer, which also made me stop and go, Violet.
Yeah, like, girl, you can only just injure them So eventually do have to aim for something more than just their shoulder.
But yeah, she kind of goes on like a little thing too. I just didn't know she was specifically aiming for shoulders. Like she goes on about like poisoning them without killing them and stuff like that. And I guess if you're like sparring and doing things and you're aiming for like non-death points, that's talented, I guess, in a sense. But at the same time, you should really be working on that muscle memory for the death points.
Yeah.
But it just kind of killed me with the, I didn't want to be a killer. It's like you stayed in the Dragon Rider Squadron. If you truly didn't want to be a killer, you would go to the Scribes.
Yeah.
Which arguably the Scribes are also killers. But
I
that's what.
feel like they're I can't think of the right word, but my brain is like, I feel like they're not killers. I feel like they're like silencers, and they're just silencing all of the stuff that like the higher ups don't want to get out, you know?
Yeah. It's just kind of like, I guess not saying all the scribers, but it's just like it takes just one scribe, technically, because you had, who was it? Was it Emrys? Or I don't know. One of the third years or something go on about how the scribes creep him out. And I'm like, he's not exactly wrong because the scribe can just write a lie or do something and it would completely potentially kill somebody.
True.
Whether it's on purpose or just in like being incompetent at their job. Uh, but yeah, so it was just kind of she's spiraling. And then we have Dane and Zayden. Both of them were trying to slap her out of it. So you kind of have Dane once again go with his tactic of babying Violet because that's what he's always done growing up is babying Violet.
Yeah. Why would a grown woman be able to handle herself?
Because she baby.
But she doesn't need to be she literally just killed a man. She doesn't need to be babied. She found out that she can control lightning. She doesn't need to be babied.
To her, she's like, I finally get my signet. I've been dying for my signet. And the first thing I do with it is kill somebody.
It makes me laugh every time I reread this whenever she's like, she wants her signet so bad. And then she finally gets it and she's like, my signet makes me a horrible person. I'm just a weapon, yada, yada, yada. All I did, I got it and then I killed someone. And I'm like, girl, but you wanted it for so long. Just be happy. Be happy that you didn't explode into a ball of fire or get your head snapped.
Or like accidentally zap somebody you didn't want to zap.
Yeah. Like, be glad that you didn't accidentally zap Liam. Because that could have been pretty bad.
Yeah, she does get annoyed with him at some points.
Yeah.
But yeah, she kind of spirals in all this into like, I'm a weapon. Da-da. I'm like, aren't all Dragon Riders weapons?
Yeah, you're literally going to college to become a weapon.
They like literally don't want you contacting your family for the first year to make you better weapons.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could be more than just a weapon, but at the end of the day, everyone's a weapon. And she's a scribe. I feel like that should be something like a little bit more like realized upon her than if you're just idolizing dragon riders.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dane tries to baby her, and then Zayden comes and pretty much slaps him away and goes, nope, and pretty much shakes her and like says demean things to her face. Also, I put a quote in here, but one of the things that was interesting is where Zayden was like, made a comment going, well, you're the one that did lightning, right? I thought so. I thought you had lightning. And I was like, what do you mean you thought she had lightning?
Yeah, I knew it all along.
Yeah, I think I forget where, if it's in this chapter, or I'm going to assume it's this chapter. It could have been like a next chapter or something. But he basically, Violet brings it up and asks him, what did he mean by that? And he was like, oh yeah, when, I think was it whenever they first kissed or something? Lightning happens or like thunder or something. And he suspected it.
Yeah, he said that he suspected it like whenever Karen initially started channeling to her. But he was like, I wasn't sure though, so I didn't say anything.
Before like that was addressed to my thought process, I was like, because they're connected. I'm like, she sees Zayden's connection as this like black kind of mass. Yeah. So it makes me wonder if on his side, if she's like Sparky or something.
I hope she's just an outline that's just like with a bunch of sparks inside. Like a human outline that's full of electric sparks.
Because we don't know what his like inner palace looks like. Looks like the archives or the scribed area, whatever. But just an outline of her with like sparks is both funny and absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
This is low key downright terrifying. Oh yeah, and the way Dane and Zayden are both trying to help her out, it feels very much like Dane's supposed to represent kind of like the scribe part of Violet, while Zayden's the dragon rider part of Violet. No, it like very much screams that's like kind of the parallel going on here in the trio here. So amongst Violet going, why me, woe was me, and all this for her signet, she starts listing off like everybody's signet that she knows. And Dane's like, shut up. And Zayden's like, I already knew.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because if I was Dane and I thought that Zayden didn't know, and then he was just like, I already knew, I would really reevaluate how I'm keeping this a secret.
Yeah, it's not the most secretive secret. Also, Dane can't keep a secret to save his life.
I mean, maybe. I'm not certain if Dane actually had. Like, I'm trying to decide if Dane kept secrets or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will say, though, whenever he kept trying to get Violet out and convince her out and everything, he was just really stupid about most of it, so.
Yeah.
And yet he wants to be wing leader. It's kind of, I don't know. Maybe he just can't see straight when it comes to Violet.
Maybe.
Maybe Violet's just his weak point, and he can't think straight. Maybe that's what it is. So we get Dane once again in this moment to calling Zayden cold-blooded murderer and all that stuff, and I'm like, so we get to see how Dane views Zayden again, which he's viewed Zayden like that from like the start of the year.
Yeah.
Makes me ask, which you can get some of this without knowing Zayden whatsoever. Just the fact that he's bonded with Sigale and that she's like ruthless. Of course, she would pick another ruthless guy. What on earth did this man do that Dane is instantly like, this wing leader? Cold-blooded murderer. What the heck did this man do?
Yeah, because at this point, like, we don't know what Dane knows about Zayden. I don't think.
We don't know what Zayden was like in his first year or his second year. Because, of course, when Dane was in his first year, Zayden was in his second year. So it's like, what on earth did Zayden do? Who did he murder? What the hell is on? So that's a fun little thing of Violet doesn't stop and just goes, Dane's constantly hating Zayden. This is normal attitude. And I'm just like, no. This seems to be like a consensus where Dane believes this is the common viewpoint of anyone at this academy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what on earth did Zayden do? Oh yeah, Taryn. Yes.
Yes.
He makes this cryptic little kind of comment to Violet to help Violet cope, where he's just kind of like, this signet kind of makes you the best hope for the kingdom against hordes of evil that seeks to harm it. I'm like, that's an eerie quote.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, he wanted to tell her straight out, like, they're not gonna let you just sit on your power, but here's how it can be used for good and not just killing, but like, here's how it can be used to keep your people alive.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I kind of have to stab it into her brain a few times about how you can protect people now. This is a power that you can protect people. Like, you're not just a killer. You're not just out there murdering people. You're protecting people.
Yeah. Protecting people by killing other people, but
The best defense is the best offense? Question mark. No, the best, something like that. The best defense is offense. Is that the saying?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Basically, it's along the lines of, why sit around and wait and do a defense thing when you can just murder the entire enemy before you need to defend? I think that's what that was.
Kill first, ask questions later sort of moment.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I had a comment too about Ree. Love Ree. it was a cute moment between her and Violet. But then Violet starts feeling horribly guilty over not being able to tell Reese certain things that are obviously secrets and secrets that she's not allowed to divulge.
Yeah.
And I just thought this was a funny moment because this shows how much that Reese actually Violet's friend, because Violet actually feels guilty. Where I'm trying to remember if she actually ever felt guilty for lying to Dane.
I think she did, right?
That's where I'm like kind of trying to decide. Did she feel guilty? Was it mentioned? Or was it mentioned a few times and then it just like she got over it and didn't care anymore?
She actually might have just gotten over it. Because I feel like this time Taryn had to be like, it's not your place to divulge this. Don't feel bad about it. But I don't remember him doing that previously with like her feeling guilty about Dane and shit.
Well, this was before she was bonded. It was like way back in the beginning when she was keeping like Zayden's secrets from Dane and just wasn't really talking to Dane too much. And so it was just like this weird, like not communicating between with each other before things went really south. That was the one thing I was just trying to remember. And I was like, I don't know. So this one was actually the next part of chapter 29 that I had to comment on, which is when Zayden and Violet go away by themselves. And I don't know if this is when they enter her room or what, but I actually didn't put it as a quote in here. I just straight up left a comment going, sent, question mark, Violet, do you got super smell or something? Or is Zayden just coded?
Wait, what?
Yeah, whenever she and like Zayden go off to like, I don't know if it was her room or where they went off to by themselves. I forget where exactly in this part it was. But she all of a sudden was just like, Zayden smells divine or something like that. And I'm just like, huh? Like, I don't know if they were like actually hugging or near. Like, I don't think in the context they were like hugging or like near each other or anything. And I'm just like, does she have like super smell or does Zayden just like get cologne or something and coat himself head to toe in it?
Maybe he just became Coloni.
It was so entertaining. Hey, you know how I said I did quotes and we wouldn't be like, what the hell am I talking about?
We are.
I have to pull it up. I have to pull it up and see if I can get what exactly the full context was. Because I was just like, what the hell? What the hell, Violet? What's going on here? Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. Found the thing. So Violet's already in her room. And so she was expecting it to be either Ree or Liam coming to knock on her door when she hears a knock on her door. And then she was like, wait, no, Liam's still in the hospital or medical ward, whatever.
Yeah.
And so she was like, come in. She was just like, I don't care if I'm in my night clothes, etc. She was like, who's gonna stop me? I got lightning abilities. Everyone's too scared of me. Ego. She's had like I don't care anymore ego. I murdered a man vibe going. And so then the door opens beside her. I guess was she that close to the door? I guess she's standing by the door. I thought she was across the room. Anyway, she doesn't look up, like look over or whatever. She's like throwing daggers at her dagger board thing. Dummy. And then she's like, that height, that dark hair, my peripheral vision, that incredible scent.
Huh.
And she was like, I don't need to look to know that's Satan. So, correction, they're closer than I thought. I thought she was across the room, but once again, she's standing by the door, doesn't even look. He just takes a step into the room and she's like, oh, I can smell him.
She's just sniffing the air and she's like, yep, I know that smell.
So, yeah, that's why I had to leave the comic because I'm just like, the hell, Violet?
Yeah, fair enough. A valid comment.
Doesn't describe the smell or anything, just goes, that delicious smell.
I hope he just like smells like, I don't know, like chocolate ice cream or something.
I'm pretty certain based on the other chapters and everything, she, even in, I think, with all the smut scenes in this, she describes him as smelling like mint. Sometimes some other stuff, but usually mint's always thrown in there.
I feel like mint, leather, and sage are all really common in fantasy and romance book descriptions for smells.
Yeah. I think leather was one. I don't know about sage. I think it's mint and leather, at least for Zayden. Which, have y'all smelled leather before?
I do really enjoy the smell of leather. I don't know if I would enjoy it as like a cologne on someone, but like it does smell nice.
I feel like leather is one of those scents where it varies, and there's this realm of leather scents that it's fine, and then there's a realm of leather scents that it's not fine at all. I'm just like, which one are we talking about? It's kind of like there's dog, and then there's like wet dog, you know?
Yeah, no one wants wet dog.
Sweaty dog.
Not sweaty dog.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Okay, so to continue the scene setup here of her throwing stuff, not even looking, has super scent smell or something, or Jaden went and like doused himself in cologne. The next thing I thought was interesting too was she's like I stated throwing like daggers at her dummy or whatever, and he goes and asks her, going, "Hey, are you picturing me?" And she's like, "No, that was you 20 minutes ago. And now it's somebody you wouldn't know." Which, first time reading this, when the like first time I was reading this in the book, first time through, I thought she was just being like, it was just a joke. It was just kind of like she was jesting. Second time reading it through, I kind of torn between her jesting and her just being straight up serious. And I'm like, who would Zayden not know that she's throwing daggers at?
Yeah, unless it's like someone from like her childhood that like her mom was friends with, he's pretty much gonna know.
Yeah. Oh, like he's a wing leader. He like freaking has Liam stalking you. He was stalking you before Liam was stalking you.
It's his job to know.
Yeah. I guess okay, correction. It's more accurately put. Liam's bodyguarding her. Zayden was stalking her.
Yeah.
Clarification. I'll save Liam from me saying the word stalker. Liam was not stalking. Zayden was. But either way, it's like it would have been somebody before she got into the academy if it had been somebody Zayden wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So, kind of interesting. So, don't know if she's jesting or she's actually just straight up was telling the truth and being honest. Now I'm like, who the heck she pissed at that we have no idea who? Yeah. So that was just kind of food for thought of something that was like 50-50 on do. Also, to continue with this lovely little scene here of her and her like newfound ego. Actually, I guess it's not newfound, refound.
Yeah.
The fact that she's just like, nobody's going to come for me now. I can just zap them with lightning. I'm like, girl, you were the general's daughter, friends with Dane, connected, it gets bonded to the same, like the dragon bond thing, wherever with Zayden, who's known to be ruthless and is a wing leader. And people still came for you.
Yeah. People actively tried to kill you many times.
I have lightning ability that I just discovered. Nobody's going to try to kill me now.
Although I will say that if they were going to try and kill her after her getting her lightning ability, I feel like right now would be the more dangerous time because she can't control it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a 50-50 bet kind of thing. She can't
Yeah,
control it, so I think it would be better than when she can control it, you know? It's a little dodgy, but yeah. It just I don't know. It's I feel like if I wanted Violet dead, I would do it right after she discovered her ability.
I probably would have done it before.
Well, obviously before, but if you like couldn't before, you know, especially with like everything that's gone on and everything, she'd like be scrambled, confused, tired. Be a good opportunity, you know. Me over here plotting Violet's death.
Yeah.
Oh, beside the point. Um, and she actually starts debating and thinking about her abilities and stuff, and she's like, "Actually, can I smite somebody in a room? Do I have to be outside? How does this work?" And I had to highlight it and leave a comment about it because they have physics class here. She was training to be a scribe. Do they not know what static electricity is?
Yeah, her being like, well, can I only channel it in like outside where there's lightning? And I'm like, but it's static electricity. So no, you can pretty much do it anywhere. Maybe not to the same extent as like when there's a lightning storm going on outside, but like, girl, you're taking physics. You spent the entirety of your first 20 years of life being an absolute nerd. You should know this.
Also, it makes me feel like, how do the signets work? Because, like, even like fire, and you have all this nonsense and stuff. And it's like, how on earth do these signets even work? I'm like, because for fire, theoretically, like, yeah, you have like stuff in the air that's flammable, but you would need to spark it or do something for to catch fire. Like, you can't just light air on fire, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, how does these signets work? Because she's over here tying it to like the sky, and that's how she gets lightning. And I'm like, well, how are these people getting fire? I feel like if you can just light fire, apparently in the air for whatever reason, you should be able to just lightning
Yeah. Spontaneous combustion.
that too. Oh, now I'm curious how like actual like static electricity and stuff works now. I wonder if it's like friction. And of course, it depends on air. 'Cause, like, I think drier air makes it where you get a lot more static electricity stuff issues than wet air. So it could be maybe part of it depends on the environment for her and how well that works. But also, she might not want to channel lightning if she's like surrounded by water or like doused in water.
Yeah.
She might actually, you know what would be smart for her?
Hmm.
I don't know if the material exists in their brains or in their world yet, but rubber.
Oh yeah, rubber would be great for her. Unless she has a latex allergy.
Knowing her, she somehow would.
Yeah.
Questions on that because it opens a can of worms. I'm just like, huh? Also, shout out to, I think Zayden's the one that makes this comment where he's like, we spend 3 years here to become killers, and those who are the best killers get promoted and praised.
I mean, he's not wrong.
And I just thought that was really funny because once again, it's like, Violet, you're a dragon rider. How do you think this was going to go?
Yeah, I every now and then she acts like she was just gonna go through the entirety of this and then just go back home to her scribe life. And I'm like, that's not how this was gonna go down.
Yeah, yeah. It even makes it funnier too, because in this train of thought too, she was like, mind you, she mentions that it's like a small little spark. It was like a tiny bit of hope that she knew was unrealistic. But she was like, I was really hoping to get like mending and be able to put broken things back together. And I'm like, Miss, if this is part of your personality or whatever kind of thing, Violet, what about you is essentially healing because you want to be a scribe, not a healer?
Yeah, there's if your power is tied to who you are, you had no chance of getting that.
I was like, it was quite funny because then she goes, instead, I'm splitting things apart now. And I'm like, yeah, you are pretty much the opposite of healing.
Yeah,
There's a reason Zayden calls you violence.
literally.
I thought that was kind of funny. Also, she had this kind of whole woe was me, I'm a weapon, once again, all that. And Zayden kind of goes, just because you can murder people now doesn't mean you lose some agency and that you're just the weapon now kind of attitude. And I'm like, I don't, maybe I have too much agency, but for some of this, I kind of can't relate to or understand the whole, who am I? I'm just a murderer and all this kind of woe is me.
Yeah,
Like, you have literally given more power to yourself. You can make more decisions now without like being forced to do things you don't want to do.
yeah.
So once again, I don't know what her plan was with the Dragon Riders. Maybe she was hoping to go and be like on a desk job or something afterwards.
Yeah, that does seem like a more her aspect of all of this.
Which, if that was like her goal plan and stuff, then it makes it even funnier because then she was like, "Oh yeah, I got the best dragon, and then I got two." It's not helping her cause if she was trying to stay out of this.
Yeah, it's really not helping her case at all.
Violet sometimes feels like she has no plans and then gets upset when her imaginary plans get ruined.
Yeah,
Kind of like she said, where it's like, oh, it's just like a small, tiny thought I had in my back of my brain. And it's like, you have a lot of tiny little thoughts in the back of your brain that you let, you like, you have big emotions about. then she engages into Smut with Zayden, and we go into chapter 30 where Smut continues.
I was listening to it earlier, and Josh was like, "Oh, smut," and I was like, "Yeah, like one of like the 3 or 4 chapters there are in this book that's smut."
For being 39 chapters long, you pretty much just have references of horny young adults who might die, so they're kind of horny and getting it on and all this without really any context or much of anything. It's kind of like a bunch of gossiping of who's been with who without really much more context, and it's just randomly placed in there throughout the book. And then you get into these 4 chapters, and it's like Violet decided she's done with slow burn romance and she's just going to full send it.
Yep.
Is pretty much what happens. My favorite thing when I start reading this is where kind of Violet kind of does this whole thing like, why be mad when I can be horny or lustful or whatever she uses? And I'm like, I have comments about this. I have a lot of comments about this. I'm going to keep my mouth shut now about that. Here I won't though. At the time while I was reading it, I kept my mouth shut. But yeah, no, she was like, it's lust, and I'm like, I don't know how much of this is actually lust. You can tell yourself that, but I already called this a slow burn romance going on here. That you decided to throw out that trope and just full send it. So
yeah,
if this was just lust, you would have done this a long time ago.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Also the whole freaking Zayden's a whole other mood where he's just like, you don't want this, you'll hate me in the morning. And I'm like, Zayden, I understand you're telling this to yourself and you're telling this to yourself constantly in your brain, but why are you saying this out loud to her? Yeah, I think he does that in a smut scene in these four chapters, pretty much.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to I had to quote it because we actually get this, and I was like, "Oh, we get information," and because we're here, I'm going to talk about it anyways. Is that they go through and they're like, "Oh yeah, I know because we're in the Dragon Riders Quadrant and everything. It's I guess a requirement, or maybe people aren't just stupid, but I feel like they mentioned it as like a rule, is that they have to take fertility suppressants."
Yeah.
Because you don't want babies running around and they're all having fun time throughout the whole thing. And it's a really funny kind of concept because the more I thought on it, the more I'm just like, condoms aren't just used to not have babies. There's several reasons to be using condoms.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I mean, there's like, there's like more reasons than not just to have babies, but okay.
Yeah.
Also, she kind of is sparky and generates lightning, and the description kind of confuses me because I'm like, did the lightning hit the window? Did it just hit outside? Did it go through the window? Was it inside?
I think in this chapter, I imagined it going through the window.
Yeah, because I don't know, it was weird because she like set it like the curtains on fire, but I don't know if I can't remember if they mentioned because it was like if she broke the glass of her window or not.
Yeah.
But in the next smut scene, she like breaks Zayden's window with lightning, and she's like, "Oh, that's going to be hard to replace."
Yeah, so I guess for the first one, it's just inside.
Yeah, so it seemed like it was inside or something, but then she also did lightning outside because she set things on fire in the forest.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of weird, and I'm just like, ha.
2 birds, 1 stone moment.
Also, to continue with this signet thing, is once again, Zayden uses his shadows to protect them from the debris and stuff. And I'm just like, how is this signet working here? Because straight up shadows don't have substance and matter.
I feel like that's where the book changes that, though. I feel like what I imagine is like, you know how in Peter Pan, his shadow moves separately from him, I think? I don't know. It's been a really long time since I've seen it. But I think it's, or like in The Princess and the Frog with Dr. Facilier, and he's like controlling his shadow, and his shadow can like grab things. I'm imagining Zayden controlling shadows more like that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's basically have to sum it up to like magic.
Yeah.
So it just makes it interesting where Violet's like, it needs to be connected to the sky or something like that. And I'm like, this is magic. There's missing thought, like logic here going or something, because it's like shadows shouldn't be able to grab things just to go down that rabbit hole of trying to explain magic that hasn't been explained, nor really called magic. Oh, yeah. And this is, of course, in this chapter, we get to find out that Zavedin made a deal for him and 107 kids not to be killed. Can you imagine that, though? Is that they were like, oh, yeah, we're just going to slaughter all these children. And then the oldest of them goes, no, 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 no. You shouldn't kill them. Just, I'll take responsibility
For all of them.
for all of them.
That's some crazy trust you just fucking put.
Which then, of course, they all end up marked by the dragons. So the dragons had to have a word or something into it. And makes me want to, if you actually go through and start sitting here and thinking about it, because he was like, I don't know, 17 or something like that when this happens, is one, you had to have, of course, someone high up to have agreed and he had to speak with to be responsible for all this. The dragons also had to agree to this. And then the dragons marked everyone. And so makes me want to ask more because the dragons do the signets and all that. What do the marks do?
I don't think they do anything. I think they're just like identification.
So I just thought it was interesting just to mark all these kids with the dragons, just give them glowy marks, whatever they are. I don't know if they glow, but whatever.
I think if they don't glow, I think they should.
Sparkly, glowy tattoos. Essentially going, hey, for good or for bad, they're marked as these are all the people whose parents are now dead because they're a part of the rebellion. Because there's like, in the nicest way to put it, Zayden has no control over kid number 39, whatever, becoming a vindictive a-hole and going and trying to murder everyone.
Yeah. Except for like a lot of trust in the fact that like this kid owes Zayden his life at this point. So trust that he's not gonna turn around and be an absolute ass.
Yeah. Well, if one of them screws up, then Zayden dies. And it's like, no, I think if somebody screws up, they all die. I don't think this is just a Zayden dies. I think if somebody toes the wrong line, they all die.
I could see it. It would be difficult to enact is the wrong word. Difficult to do to like do all of them, but like yeah.
Some way, some shape or form, I feel like that's what would happen. So to move on from the darkness there, so she goes and has one-on-one time with Professor Carr and trying to do her lightning abilities, which still low-key smut. Ignoring that though, Professor Carr makes a comment going, he finds it interesting how nature finds its balance. And so he's kind of the belief that if you get a really strong ability or something, nature balances it out somehow. And so I don't know how that compares to everything, but that's kind of his like little philosophy thing. So he's like, oh, Violet looks like a pathetic, weak kind of person, yet she has this crazy power. He also goes through and mentions how, oh, here's this tome I'm reading about lightning abilities and stuff, and doesn't give it to Violet for Violet to read.
Yeah, I'm like I understand that like he's done a lot to help her so far, but also like that book could be like actually revolutionary for her and her understanding of her signet.
Literally, he's just kind of like, well, how'd you do it last time? Just recreate it. And it's like, why don't you give the book over to Violet, who's been a scribe before, and let her read it and see if something clicks? Which is also really interesting for her to get heat from using her lightning ability.
I mean, I think it makes sense.
It does. It's just an interesting little thing.
Yeah. I feel like it would kind of make a little more sense for her to get cooler unless she's like pulling the like static electricity in towards herself before expelling it outward.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Shout out to I quoted this, and now I'm confused at why I have this here. Hmm. I just have it, and yet Dane is living.
Yeah, he sure is.
I have no idea what the context in the chapter of for this that I went and put it on here, but now I feel like just saying, and yet Dane is alive. Why is he not dead?
Yeah,
Why is he still breathing? What's up with that?
yeah. How dare he still be alive?
I wonder if this has to do with Violet, and maybe this is about Violet's controlling her abilities, and it's like you haven't killed him yet.
Maybe.
I don't know the context. My plan has partially worked and partially backfired on me. Oh yeah, and then to conclude chapter 30 here is with this other lovely ominous message from Zayden, which I shall now speculate upon too. Actually, I remember the context now. I think this is when they're having their pre-smut while she's with Professor Carr. They're being scandalous while she's with Professor Carr in her brain. And then Violet's like, "How are you able to contact me so far away?" kind of thing. And then Zayden's like, "Oh, well, you get more control of your signet and stuff like that. You'll be able to do it too."
Yeah.
So then he goes with this ominous line kind of thing where it's like, "There's nowhere in existence you could go that I wouldn't find you, Violence."
Which I love. I love that statement, but I think that's also just coming from the smutty romance reader in me.
Well, to add to this, Violet even thinks to herself, going, "This promise should be a threat, but it's not, and it's comforting." And I'm like, straight up, though, that's kind of a threat.
I feel like if he had said it at the beginning of their like sort of like platonic relationship, it would have been a threat. But at this point, it's like just reassuring because he has like actively saved her life multiple times at this point. So I feel like at this point, it's not a threat, but if it was said earlier, it would be.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where without like a lot of context, it's just kind of I get that they're connected and all and everything. And yes, he could save her and all this other stuff. At the same time, if Violet wanted to stay away from this same man, she'd be unable. So it's an interesting kind of little thing. And it also doesn't help either with the previous chapter where he's like, "Oh, you'll hate me in the morning and like, don't fall for me." And then he goes and just tells her, "There's nowhere you can hide from me." It's a little, like, I get it, it's romantic, but at the same time, it's like, bro, stop being so weirdly cryptic.
Yeah, he has a lot of cryptic moments.
And part of the crypticness is him just like literally telling what he's saying to himself to Violet.
Yeah, he every now and then speaks to her the way that he speaks to himself in his mind. And I'm like, you're not giving her all of the context needed to understand this.
Yeah. So moving on to chapter 3, which,
Nope.
oh,
Try again. Chapter
31.
31.
31. Actually, let me go back in my notes to chapter 3.
Gosh, oh my god, chapter 3 was so long ago.
Okay, let's see. Off the top of my head, chapter 1 would have been her going, "No, I don't want to be a dragon rider," all that stuff. And then chapter 2,
Chapter 1 was like Mira fighting with their mom.
yeah. And so then chapter 2 would have been before she probably steps foot on the parapet and all that. So then chapter 3 probably is the start of the parapet.
I feel like chapter 3 was like probably like them getting ready for the parapet, and it was Mira being like, "Get out of those boots, put on this, wear this, empty out your backpack."
Let's see, where do I have chapter 3? Did I not take notes for chapter 3? Oh my gosh, I don't think I took notes for chapter 3.
We just kind of raw on chapter 3.
Maybe I have like just mentions like really, really badly rough draft 1, 2 in the sense of like we should talk about 1, 2. And then I just did talking points. And then I was like mostly focused on chapter 3. And then I said chapter 4 is just a school setup, military repeats, brainwashing military, Zayden and Violet Dane. And then I go into actually chapter 5, 6, 7, 8 breakdowns. So then chapter 3, 4, I'm guessing here would have been Zayden, Jack, Dane, Violet, mention Ree. 24 people were named and mentioned within the first 3 chapters.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I am glad that as the first book goes on, once you get to like the last like 15 or so chapters, it kind of slows down on introducing new characters. At least for a little bit anyway.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and probably at the end, our last episode covering Fourth Wing, book one is I'll give you the final count of every like the number of mentioned characters. Last time I looked at it, I don't think we breached 100, but I think we're getting close, and I don't know. We might breach 100 before the end of the book. We were like at 90 something, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's including like all of the gods and stuff, right?
yeah, gods and dragons and all that. Yeah. And then like the death count. What was the death count? Was it in the 50s or was it higher? Which of course is just the named death count because if we're going to be straight up honest in this book, usually there's somebody being referenced dying every chapter, every other chapter.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious actually, and I shall actually go personally look here. Let's see. Do. Our total named character count of it being a dragon name, a person, a god, etc., was 92.
Oh my gosh.
So 92. And then there's 27, I think, named people who are dead. But then I have the number 12 for some reason on here. I'm so confused by that. I remember last time I saw that, I was confused. There's 27 named people who are dead. Oh, wait, I haven't added Jack Barlow. Crap, he died. Let me add him.
28.
Smited. Oh, wait, no, this is under importance, not cause of death. I'm just going to put Barlow. That's his importance.
Yeah.
Go back to the sheet here now, and now I have to go find his name, and now I have to label him as dead on the other sheet. Fill color red. And nope, he's not alive. He's now dead. Dead. Book death, book one. And he wasn't marked, so we don't have to care about that.
Dope.
Cool. Okay, now that's updated. So that's the count, unless roughly, because as we see, sometimes I fail at updating it correctly. But I don't think there's been anyone new named.
Yeah. Yeah, not in quite a while.
And I don't think anyone's that we've been named is dead. I think anyone that's dead has not been an actual name.
Yeah.
It's just random, like blah blah's dead. Oh yeah, that person's dead. Oh yeah, that person, like another 5 people are dead. Anyway, so to move on, we're on now chapter 31, not 3, 31. And so this is as the chapter quote above stated, is that this is the anniversary of the Battle of Aratia?
Erasure.
Aratia.
I think that's how they pronounce it in the audiobook.
I like how it was close, where just look at the word. I'm pretty sure some people be like Artia.
Yeah.
Proclaimed, so they also proclaimed it Reunification Day, which is kind of wild because you just had part of y'all rebel against yourselves. So how's this reunification? I guess because they kept the traitors children, you know?
Yeah.
It's like what's reunifying that like implies that there's like a truce or a treaty or something. Oh yeah, it does say year to honor the lives lost during the war to save our kingdom from separatists and those saved by the treaty.
Yeah.
So literally the children.
Yeah. But also, like, I don't know if I would consider the children necessarily saved by the treaty.
Unless the treaty's literally just dating going, I'll take responsibility, don't kill them. That's the treaty. But yeah, so yeah, no, shout out to Reunification Day, because that just seems a lie.
Yeah.
That just I can see like honoring the battle and people dying and all that stuff, but then being like, we kind of had a split up, but now we're back together again. I feel like we're in an abusive relationship with this kind of setup.
A little bit, I would say.
I feel like lied to. Anyway, I have no idea why I have this here, and we shall ignore it. So moving on to the next quote I have on here. Actually, no, go back to that one. I skipped over a quote. So are they straight up in SMUT? Is that how chapter 31 start? Yeah, they right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think they're smutting again in chapter 31 at the start. Either way, Violet's talking with Xaden.
Yeah, so I think the start of 31 is they're in, like, the basically, like, the cafeteria, and they're, like, talking via heads, like, within each other's noggins, and he's like, "Stop staring at me like that," and she's like, "No, and here's all of the things I would do if we weren't here," and he starts choking on his food.
Oh, yeah, and everyone's like, "The hell, man?" I like how, like, Xaden starts choking on his food or his water or whatever, and then Violet's like, and everyone stared at him.
Yeah. And everyone thought he was insane.
And it's funny because it's like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, if everyone's talking in that cafeteria and there's enough people, I feel like somebody just kind of going, whatever, like nothing too dramatic. You wouldn't have everyone their dog staring.
See, I imagined more of, like, that wheezing meme.
Oh gosh.
It's just Xaden, like, losing it.
Okay, that would make a little bit more sense. See, mine was like I thought of it like a spit take, and then he accidentally inhaled water, and so then he was just kind of coughing a lot.
Fair.
Just at Violet being Violet, I felt like Xaden would have laughed and then failed at laughing while drinking water, and
Yeah.
yeah. But for whatever reason, they bring up his 107 scars on his back, and Violet's having once again her issue of does she know Xaden? And so she's like, Xaden, tell me something real. And I'm like, it was like right after bringing the 107 scars on his back up again.
Yeah. She really is not about to just let him fucking mentally heal from that. She said, "What if I brought it up again?"
And it's just like you just acknowledge him telling you this very serious thing and where his scars are from and all this stuff. And then you just go through and you're like, tell me something real. It, it's just like my job. I read that and I was just like,
Yeah.
maybe wait a little longer.
No.
Just a little longer. Oh, I didn't even mention this. I talked about the window shenanigans and burning curtains. So speaking of the smut stuff, is I want to know how on earth did she freaking break this wardrobe?
I mean,
Like they're having just smut on top of like a wall kind of thing, and then she kind of grabs the top of it, but like it's presumably solid freaking wood that somebody like a carpenter made, and so and the hinges. So, and they just like did they like use their signets accidentally or something and explode it? Like
yeah,
what
that's
the
what I was thinking, was I thought she accidentally lightning zapped it,
okay, that would make sense.
and it went
I was so confused, and I'm just like, how on earth did they break this freaking solid chunk of wood?
Yeah, no, I'm assuming she accidentally lightninged it, and yeah, because I don't think it was like they grabbed it hard enough to make it explode.
Well, there's not a chance because she's like grabbing the top. If the hinges
Yeah,
are the other way, it wouldn't break inwards because it opens outward and it's like solid wood, presumably, unless it's really badly done wardrobe. Um, but yeah, no, I was just kind of like, huh. Anyway, so we're in the aftermath, and so they're like, I think we're like cleaning up, or they did clean up at some point. Either way, um, you had her book, and they pick up her book, and then she's just like, oh. And then she realized this is, by the way, the folklore book from her dad,
mhm.
that there was something poking out of it or something weird. And she pulls it out, and there's a letter from her dad to her. In which case, I don't remember anything being that interesting in it, but it kind of went through, and she's kind of like giving, I guess, her words of wisdom or something. And she's just like, one of the things was kind of like only takes one desperate generation to change history or even erase it.
Yeah, basically just a warning from her dad being like, it only takes one generation to erase some history, and I hope you choose the right path or something along those lines.
Yeah. Which once again, cryptic.
Cryptic, but he's not wrong. And I feel like that kind of goes back to, like, whenever you were talking earlier about how someone was like, yeah, scribes creep me out. And like, they kind of have the power to kill in a sense.
Like straight up, like if scribes are taking history, like, writing down the battle, whatever happened in the battle and all that stuff, and we'll say there was Mira and Bob was at this battle.
Not Mira and Bob.
Yeah, Mira and Bob at this battle. And for whatever reason, they like idolize Mira. They really like Mira. They don't like Bob. Bob was mean to them. So they barely write anything about Bob, and they only write about Mira and kind of exaggerate Mira a little bit. Who's going to like full on double check and all this because they like trust the scribes.
Yeah.
So Bob could have been just as great as Mira was, but poor Bob, he's delegated to background character. So, like, if you do like enough small stuff like that or something, it could be like all of a sudden,
All of a sudden, there are no more Bobs in the world.
yeah. Or you have the other flip side of once like nobody knows Bob, or the flip side is nobody knows Bob, and now he's in line to be the next general, and everyone's like, where the heck did Bob come from? You know?
Yeah.
Flip side of that. But yeah, no, like if you have scribes and it's like if the scribes are the only people checking history and doing all that stuff and it's all just scribes and there's just one head to the scribes, who's to stop them from doing whatever they want?
Yeah. I mean, no one except probably like an oath that they have.
True.
But like there's not really anyone who's gonna be like quote unquote like fact checking them.
Because we know dragon riders, they don't read.
Yeah.
That's why the rule book's so small. And they also guard all this and the guard the knowledge and all that. It's kind of, if you think about it, one-sided knowledge. Like if there's like three factions, whatever, one side has all the knowledge. And they're kind of creeped out by it, and Violet even goes, or I think Xaden makes a comment about him being cryptic, and Violet's like, yeah, he kind of got cryptic after Brennan died. So, and once again, we don't know how her dad died either. It's just kind of like, he died of a broken heart.
Yeah. Which I don't know how possible that is in the context of this series, but he did lose like his actual son. So
Yeah, it was just interesting because so far the story we get painted here at the moment is Brennan dies, family's distraught, dad gets cryptic, and then a few months after being cryptic, dies of a broken heart. It's just an interesting timeline here.
yeah.
Oh, and I had this quote on here because I thought it was interesting too, because they're talking about the folklore and stuff like that. And then Xaden mentions his dad knew about Venons, and he knows Venons, which I thought was interesting because nobody up to this point besides Violet and Mira has heard the folklore about Venom, and they couldn't even find it in the archives. So
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting just because, at this point I was half convinced that her dad just made up the folklore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, here's also a quote on here I have from Xaden this chapter, which once again Xaden's being cryptic and weird, and he's like, you don't know me, not my core. He's being such a drama queen.
Regularly.
Xaden's the biggest drama queen, and this also, I think, sends Violet spiraling in her head a little bit.
He's constantly a drama queen.
Correction, I don't think it sends her spiraling. I think it irritates her, and I'm like, honestly, that would have sent me spiraling because they spent so much time and done all this stuff, and the whole, like, you don't know me at my core is either straight up a truth and he's hiding something absolutely diabolical, or he's straight up just lying.
Yeah, which also, like, she doesn't know you to your core because you don't open up to her.
That too.
Like, there's a simple solution.
Yeah. And so he also just kind of continues in this chapter of it telling all the nasty stuff he tells himself to Violet to also brainwash her like he's brainwashing himself. You don't know me. You wouldn't like me. I don't like you. You can't like me because I don't like you. I don't know.
Yeah, basically the whole, like, the, like, constant trope of, you wouldn't like me if you really got to know me.
I keep feeding myself these lies and you these lies, it'll become true. Oh my gosh. It's a whole thing. And they kind of just go back and forth. Oh yeah, and we get some little timeline mention stuff here where like a month's passed since she can shoot lightning and she still can't aim. I feel like jokes are to be made about that, and I will not be the one to make them. And then we also get noted that they're 10 days away from graduation now.
Whee! Well, not so much yippee for them, but yippee for most of the other people.
Woo! They survived a year.
Yippee for Ree. She gets to send all of the letters that she's been writing.
Oh yeah, to her twin sister, who has a child, Lovery.
Yeah. So yippee for graduation so that Ree can send her letters.
Whippy! Oop. And then also, I like that they noted that today marks 6 years since Brennan was killed.
Yeah.
Because previously it was 5 years. So I like the updated number corrected. I'm just saying. Just saying. Battle brief, I think, going on, and they're smutting at each other as well. Yeah. They're throwing quips at each other back and forth during battle brief in this chapter, which nothing else really important happens besides that during battle brief.
Yeah.
And then we get acknowledgement that it's now been a month and a half since they destroyed her room.
And she's no better at aiming her lightning.
Yeah.
She's like, yep, It's been a month and a half and I still suck at this.
Okay, so we get some more little fun stuff. So they're dressing up for the little freaking celebration, whatever, that's being held because the reunification nonsense. So I think this was when Ree is getting dressed and asked for Violet's opinion or something. I think. Was it Ree? I think it was Ree or something. And they're like getting all dressed up and everything. And then Violet looks at her and goes, hot. And I'm like, valid.
Yeah.
I'm here for this shipping. I mean, obviously the shipping's not going to go anywhere whatsoever, but Violet and Ree, it'd be cute. But yeah, they go through and Ree likes to make a comment, or maybe it was Violet. Somebody makes a comment about how it's getting incestuous around here. I was like, I made that comment, I don't know how many chapters back, where I'm like, should they be fraternizing in sexual relationships while in the same squadron? Like, that just seems bad, but okay. And then we actually, and then to add to this, we finally get I finally get the tea on Ree and Tara. Apparently, according to Nadine, they've been on and off all year. So that answers my question because they kind of hit it off. And then she was with, was it Sawyer? And I was like, what happened to Tara?
Yeah. But it sounds like they're taking a break until, was it after graduation that they said? Or I think she said like after Parapet.
Yeah. They said, because they made a comment about her being on and off again all year or whatever. And then Ree's like, or Nadine was like, wait, are you off again? And then she was like, yeah, we're taking a breather until Parapet.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming they mean that for like the beginning of year 2, when the Parapet, like the freshmen, go through again.
Yeah.
And so if this is July 1st, Parapet's like what, August?
Yeah, it's like mid-August, I think. So it got roughly like a month and a half. And then graduation is in 10 days. So
roughly like a month breather thing. Choices were made. Also, if you're on and off again all year long, I'm just maybe stay off. And so kind of to continue on, this loveliness shenanigans is they're all celebrating the deaths of people essentially in their reunification. And so Violet kind of just clicks in her brain with like Liam there and not seeing any other unmarked ones there. She's just kind of like, ooh, we're celebrating your mother's death. Why are you here?
yeah. I think one of my favorites was her being like, I am going to beat up Zayden for making you come to this. And he's like, except for he didn't make me come to this. He's like, I said I would protect you and this is part of it. And she's like, let's get out of here. Like,
she's like, I will save you then. And I'm to be the mean person here because they're supposed to be wing leaders and smart people and all this. And the king even's like, I like to keep my eye on Zayden every year or whatever, the marked ones, etc. For them being marked and trying to illustrate that they're not a threat and they're loyal and all that stuff, they all should really be there faking the shit out of it. I'm just saying, if you're having a reunification thing and like all this stuff, and all the traitors' childrens are avid, like are avoiding the quote unquote celebrating like reunion party, it's not a good look. Also, not a good look. It's also just dangerous because if somebody wanted to start something, they could easily cause like something bad to happen and just blame it on all of them because they're not there.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So for Zayden and all them being smart, I know really bad, poor taste and all that, but they really should be faking it and at the party. It would be the smart move, even though it would be emotionally horrible. It would be the smart move. So I had to point that out because I just thought that was interesting for them being all smart and everything. I'm amazed, and like all of them like tiptoeing around the lines and being like, we're loyal, we're proving that and all that stuff. It seems like, especially when the king's there too. Like if it was just like the king wasn't there and it was just like normal, I could see getting away with it. But if like the king is there and there's like an increase and it's like, oh, just the heightened awareness. Also, shout out to this also quote where they're like, yeah, I hate parties. And Violet's like, I hate them too. Brennan would also hate this. And then Liam goes, yeah, it sounds like. And then he stops it. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean sounds like? Do you know Brennan?
Yeah.
He'd been dead for 6 years. How on earth would you know this man? So I don't know if Violet's been nonstop blabbing about him or something. And then I had to also include this into this funness just because we poke on Dane about having a beard. The king has a mustache. Why is this relevant? I feel like if the king has a mustache, more people should have a mustache. Don't like the king's lead trends or something stupid like that.
Yeah. I feel like letting him lead trends adds to his already massive ego.
Exactly. Also, shout out to Violet's mom in this chapter where the king's like, where are all the marked ones? I want to see them. And her mom instantly going, oh, look, there's Dane. Let's go say hi.
Yeah.
The mom just saved all their butts because she knows none of them are there.
Mm-hmm.
She went, I know those troublemakers. They're not here. She could feel it in her bones. To Dane touching Violet's face again.
Yep.
He literally went and was like, oh, you look so pretty, touchy, mushy face.
Yeah. Because why ask her for simple information when he could just take it instead?
Which is really weird because I don't know what Violet's done or anything for him instantly be like, let's see what you've been up to. Oh, I wonder if he just sees her effing Zayden. Anyway, so that must have been a fun moment for him. But also shout out to Dane being a homie though and being like, hey, look, I'll cover for you. Go up to the staircase and you can just leave. So Dane helps cover for them to abandon said party.
Yeah, which I do appreciate. I also really appreciate his sense of humor in this part. Whenever he's talking to Liam and he's like, has she tried to sneak out yet? Because he's like, growing up, she hated these things and she'd always sneak out. And that was like one little like moment where I feel like we got to see like him as an actual friend to her.
Not gonna lie, I like your point and it's very valid and everything. But every time I hear anything involving him and Violet, it just screams like older brother vibes.
Which is fair.
It's like some of it's like I can see it from a friend standpoint, but also see it more as a brother figure standpoint because like the way he phrases, I guess it's the way he phrases it, or sometimes Violet phrases it. It's kind of like oh, she's getting in trouble again, and I gotta go like either like get her like out of trouble, help her run away, or like, I don't know. It's just kind of like, oh, she needs protection, kind of whatever stuff.
Yeah.
Feel like a friend sometimes would just go along and be there in the moment, and also adding to the chaos to a degree. I don't know. It just kind of feels like someone like he kind of is like, since he's older. Well, he's not even really that older than her, but he feels like he's like was like the keeper of Violet and like trying to like keep her from causing too much damage.
Yeah. Which is fair because he's not done anything to really like give off those vibes at all.
Well, like from the start, like whatever, they go up to his room, which they're not supposed to, and then freaking Violet takes her pants off, and then they kind of googly eye each other a little bit while pretending they weren't, and then it's just jealousy, craziness, whatever happens, and miscommunication, and anytime there's like backstory to it, it's just kind of like Violet's being Violet and Dane's trying to contain Violet. Move on to chapter 32, the last chapter in the bunch, which is pretty much Parapet and Smut.
Yeah.
So Violet kind of goes and like is like, oh, he's out there and he looks like a sad boy. I gotta go hug my sad boy. I don't know.
He's literally just sitting in the dark, brooding.
There's like a bunch of rain, not rain, wind. It's like really windy, and for some reason, my brain it's raining again.
Yeah, it definitely is not, but it feels like it should be with how he's just sitting there looking longingly into the moon.
Yeah, he's like literally just dangling 300 feet up in the air on this like 3 feet wide? No, not 3 feet wide,
18 inches, foot and a half.
and 18 inches wide little walkway, 300 feet up in the air. And he just sits there, feet dangling, staring up at the moon, and it's windy because they're like way up high in the air. And for some reason, my brain is like, oh, it's raining again. I forgot. It doesn't even say it's raining, but my brain went, it's raining. And Violet's like, I just need to go say hi to him. And the crazier part too, besides her putting herself in danger by doing that because she's wearing long flowing clothing and she's barefoot, is she even says that it's not a dress, it's a skirt. She could have taken off her skirt and done this, or she could have freaking taken one of her daggers and ripped it. That way there would have been less flowy material.
See, but then we wouldn't get the moment of like whenever they're back in his room and she's walking and her like leg peeks out of like the slit of it. And he's like, "You've been wearing this the entire time?" And she's like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have been walking behind me only."
Oh, yeah. And he was like, well, the view was good from there, too.
Yeah,
Yeah, the thigh high slit. And he was just like, wait a second.
yeah. Like, wait, all night?
He was like, I haven't seen you all night and you've been wearing that? Huh? Let's see. What else? Oh, yeah. And it was also really funny because it's like, you're in danger. What is lightning going to break your fall? And I'm like, shadows are going to break your fall? How does that work?
Yeah, I am assuming like him falling and he's gonna have the shadows reach up and like grab him, but I don't know. That's something that I never quite understood was him being like, my shadows will soften my fall. And I'm like, I don't, that's not how shadows work.
Like I said, the stuff is kind of hurts my brain. But if you think of it like water, he has dark water abilities. It makes a little more sense. Dark or dry water. Oh yeah, and then we get a little bit of Zayden being jealous, straight up, where he was pretty much admitted that he was pissed off that she thought that he was with anyone else.
Yeah. Which also, maybe if he had any sort of communication skills, she would not have thought that. But also, like, I need her to stop being insecure.
Yeah, yeah. It's wild. Wild. I don't know what about Zayden screams that if he was having fun time with her, that he was having fun time with other people just casually. But yeah, and then we find out Imogen has a thing for Garrick, which is cute.
Yeah.
That's just cute. I like it. It's cute. Ooh, I might have to cut out this part, but I shall make it. I'm going to make a comment about it, but
Yeah. Once again.
just some salt in the wound there, which I also shall make a comment once again. She's done this a few times already in the book, and once you're kind of aware of it, it becomes kind of obvious. Is that she introduces a character, gives them a backstory, and then like kind of pokes at it to some degree, and then that's when she kills them.
Yeah, she does have a habit of doing that.
So I'm like, if you know what you're looking for and like picked up on the trend from the earlier people who have died, it kind of starts becoming obvious. Violet kind of goes, "Hey, did you know, like the first time I came here and I went up the stairs, I freaked out that there wasn't a handrail?"
Yeah, him being like, have I ever mentioned that Dane's name on your lips makes me incredibly angry or something basically like that?
Yeah. The exact line was, "Did you know I can't stand to hear his name on your lips while you're leading the way to my room?"
Yeah.
And I get the point. I get it. He's like, "We're going to go have fun time in my room, and you're saying another man right now." But at the same time, she's telling you an interesting tidbit about herself that just so happens that Dane was there. Like, bro, can you shut up? That's beside the point. I think even Violet kind of rolls her eyes and goes, "The point is." So then they go obviously to enter his room and they're getting prepared for fun times. Violet goes through and takes off his shoes and then goes to put his shoes away. And he suddenly screams, "You can just leave them there," instead of like putting them in the wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, the fact that he blurts that out randomly and just seems so random and everything. And I'm like, what is bro hiding?
I thought it was him being impatient.
See, for me, just because Violet then goes, "I've seen all your clothes before." For me, I'm just like, what? Does he have something embarrassing in the wardrobe? What is he hiding in there? You know? Just because it's blurted out.
I just thought it was him, like, being impatient.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird because it's just kind of like, low, like, just the blurted out, like, kind of like it like read like a last second thought on his mind. And it's just like, "You can leave them there," or like, instead of like "Hey, you can place them down." I don't know. It's just the way I read it was just kind of like he like was guilty, kind of like, "Don't look in the wardrobe."
That is fair. I could see that.
Maybe he keeps his favorite stuffed animal in there.
Hell yeah. I barely know that he's a big softie.
Yes. He has his like precious stuffed animal in there because we find out after the fact that sometimes they hold like leader meetings or something in his room. So maybe he keeps his like precious stuffed animal toy in there or something.
It's a big stuffed unicorn.
100%. Or dragon.
Yeah.
Mini Segale.
That was what I was just thinking.
And he was like, "This would ruin the mood right now if she opens it up and sees Mini Segale in my closet." I just thought that was funny. They kind of do a lot of reminiscing here throughout the book for some reason. I don't know if it's because Violet was like, "I want to know something real." And it's just Zayden going, "Yeah, you know that time that guy side-eyed you? I wanted to kill him." Oh, yeah. So this is also where I get like kind of dodgy too with Zayden. So you have Zayden professing his love in the terms of murder, essentially. And then you have Violet going, "Well, if we're going to do this, we're going to start from being completely honest." And instead of him agreeing or anything, he just starts making out with her.
Does he really?
Yeah.
I did not pick up on that.
Oh, yeah. No, it like full on. I was like, that's manipulative POS behavior. It pissed me off.
Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, no, like the exact line that I copied here is, "But if we're doing this, then we're starting from a place of complete honesty." He crushes his mouth to mine and pulls me fully into his lap. And so he doesn't say anything. He just starts kissing her. And I'm like, that's you didn't agree. You didn't say anything. I'm like, bro's lying about something. So that's why I was like, I don't know, he's being dodgy, man.
He's hiding something.
I mean, to be fair, we already said he's hiding a mini Segale in his closet, so I guess he isn't being honest. Here's another thing, because he's a stalker, maybe he has a violet shrine in his wardrobe.
Maybe. That would certainly be something.
oh, this is fun. Anyway. And then we get, of course, Smut, and Smut happens. Then, of course, we get some real talk with Zayden, where Zayden's like, I used to think this mark was a curse, but now I realize it's a gift. No idea what he's talking about.
Yeah. I mean, if they didn't get marked, they would have been dead. So,
Fair enough. Better marked than dead. I thought there was something else going on in this chapter, but I didn't put it in quotes down here.
the only other thing I can think of is like what happens at the very end.
Yeah, I have that mentioned on here. But yeah, Garrett kind of barges in and goes, yo, they are calling full quadrant formation. And they're like, huh? And they're like, Garrett's like, we're under attack. Get your moving.
Yeah.
No, I could have swore Violet says that she loves him. I thought she said that in this chapter.
He definitely does.
Because that's also what weirded me out, because she's like, oh, I love you. And then freaking Zayden just starts kissing her again or something. He doesn't say it back to her.
So at some point he's like, he says that like he's wanted her since the first time he saw her. And I think that was more of his response back to that.
I guess it's a very Zayden MO. He doesn't say things, he just action. But Zayden really should use words sometimes along with action.
Yeah. Why would he do that? So that's
It just feels too like, I don't know what to do. I'll just get her to shut up by kissing her vibe. And it's like, I don't question him liking her whatsoever. Like, I believe the whole, obviously, like, we've seen it. He liked her. The moment he saw her, we knew he liked her and she liked him. So that was chapters 29, 30, 31, and 32. Next episode, and then, because I don't know when exactly this is going to be posted, we're going to have a little quick podcast update thing. I'll probably maybe put it in description too. Schedule got a little thrown off. Life was lifing a little too hard. It's still lifing a little too hard.
yeah. Life was definitely happening for both of us.
And then don't quite have a exact date yet for next year for when we'll be starting up the podcast again for Akatar, and of course for Iron Flame, the second book in the series. My best guess is we either want to have it start up in the spring sometime, or we'll be recording and editing and everything, and then we'll have it start releasing in the summer again. But we will be back. We got Iron Flame to roast, which I have not finished reading Iron Flame. And then we got Akatar to roast. So, I haven't read Akatar in so long.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read it.
I just really want to reread it just to understand the watery bowels.
Yeah, Akatar's not one of her series that I just reread. Now, I do reread Crescent City at least once a year because that one's my favorite, and it's so good. And it's so good. It's so good. And I feel like her writing just got so much better by the time she wrote that one. And I really enjoy the characters a lot more in that one. So, but no, I'm excited to reread Akatar.
I'm excited just to bully the snot out of all of them, because I read the books the first time through. Any book series, I read the book first time reading it, strictly entertainment. The next time I read it is to be mean. I'll be honest. That's how I am. Sometimes to be though, if I really do enjoy the book, there's not really meanness to me. It's just me reading and being obsessed and wanting to know more about the character that I missed the first time reading it through.
Yeah.
The romantasy kind of genre. I read the first time for fun. It's kind of like junk food. The second time through, I start critiquing it.
Fair.
Hence why I have no idea what watery bowels are. Everyone's like, watery bowels happen so often. I'm like, what? Huh?
Yeah. Feyre, her bowels turning watery.
Like, I don't remember that. Though, to be fair, when I was reading the series the first time through, I already wrote Feyre off as being stupid. So,
To be fair, she has no common sense or critical thinking skills.
you can't teach that either.
Yeah, which is a problem. Because Homegirl's going through all of this having no common sense or critical thinking skills. in situations that she desperately needs both of those things.
I always preface it has nothing to do with the fact that she can't read. Like, that's valid. She can't read. Like, that's not an issue. It's the issue that there's stuff that she can have that she could have gained that she didn't need reading to gain, which is common sense and critical thinking skills, and she just doesn't have them. Oh, she's a vibe. You know how there's these characters sometimes that are just such a vibe, and you're like, how are they alive? And you just keep cheering them on.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like about Feyre.
That's fair, though.
Yeah, and if it was for fourth wing, I would probably go with Riddick.
Love Riddick. He's just a silly guy. He's literally just a goober.
I feel like if we were to see him in battle or something in some of the shenanigans or whatever he'd be pulling off, you'd be like, how are you still breathing? But you're still cheering him on, obviously. So I'm trying to think, I don't think there's anyone else that quite fits the cheering them on, even though you're just like, what are you doing? Correction, I think Violet fits that a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. She should have freaking run away to the scribe unit.
I kind of like that she didn't.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't have this book.
Yeah, you're so right.
It's just every time it's like an obstacle happens, and she's just like, need to beat that challenge. Got to prove myself, and then after the fact, she's like, why? Oh, why? It's weird.
It's a challenge. She's like, why do I keep doing this to myself?
It's like, I understand she's like kind of convinced. She's like simultaneously convinced that she's not going to die and that she is going to die. And so her plan is like very much limited to like the next day. So yeah, life happened. Not certain when this episode is getting released. And we'll start working on the next season. And that's going to be released either spring or probably the beginning of summer is when we'll start that up again. I think if there's anything else I forgot to mention, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So, peace out. I'm dead.
I'm so tired.
I'm dead.